and Utopia Coaching is well known for their expertise in mental wellness. With them, we are hoping to arm you and to equip you with the valuable insights and practical strategies that you can use to prepare yourself for the June exams that's lying ahead. Without further ado, I would like to introduce you to the coaching panelists, Sedi and Zandele.
Thank you so much for that introduction. And we are very happy to be here, and a privilege to us that we can share this time with you guys and introduce ourselves to you, as well as tell you what it is that we are here to do for you and with you. My name is Sedi, and my colleague is Zandile, and we are Utopia Coaching. As Utopia Coaching, we work with people to help them to create a world, and a world is the way that you look at things. So creating a world in your mind where you prosper, where you use your skills and your abilities and your strength to benefit yourself. And in doing that, you become part of a world where everybody prospers. To master yourself, then you can master the next person, or it makes it easier for you to master situations and therefore thrive in every situation that you find yourself in. I'm going to allow Zandile to introduce herself, and then we're just going to tell you what we are here to do. And we're going to also tell you how you can participate. So this is a very engaging webinar. So we look forward to your participation. There are ways that you'll be able to engage with us. But I'm just going to allow Zandile to introduce herself quickly.
Thank you very much, Sedi. Good afternoon, everyone. As Sedi mentioned, it is an honor and a privilege for us to be here. We've been wanting to do this for a while, and we are so grateful that Ryan and Apex Academy offered us an opportunity to be able to actually have a share in your lives, a share in making a difference in what you want to achieve, especially as students. Times may be very tough, but if you know that there's help out there, there is support, it's important for each and every one of you to be able to grab those opportunities and run with it, because you know your future is in your hands. You need to make sure that everything runs smoothly for yourself. And if there are challenges, yeah, they should be challenges so that we can all grow. And when that happens, look for people that can assist you. And this is what we are here for. I won't take much time, but thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Zandi. Now, before we open up the presentations and we welcome the participants to participate, I will invite you, please, to make use of your chat. We will be taking questions, but we are not taking them as we go. So the way that we are going to have the webinar is, please engage with us through the chat by putting in your question, your comment. Please feel free to use your reactions to express whatever that you might, a feeling with an emoji that you want us to be aware of as soon as we start speaking, so that we can see that you are engaging. We are also going to ask you to, sorry about that. We are also going to ask you to please keep yourself on mute. And if ever we get to a point where we are going to allow you to speak. We will let you know that now it's time for us to engage in dialogue. But we have a very jam-packed agenda for today. Today, we are going to talk about unboxing mental wellness. And that is one of the key topics that we're focusing on today. May month is Mental Wellness Month across the globe. Mental wellness has really become a hot topic, and it's become so important for people to be aware of mental state, of their own mental state, to recognize the mental state of the next person, and to be embracing of whatever is happening. Our intention is to shed light on what it is, as well as to let you in on what we do to help individuals with situations that they might find themselves in. We are coaches by profession. Our field of practice is neurolinguistic program practicing. So what we do is we work with you and engage in the language of the mind, the neuro-linguistic. So we have a look at your programs, the programs that run in your mind, and we work with those to help you to rewire your own mental programming, your neuro-linguistic programs that run, that inform the decisions that you make, that inform how you take information in and how you behave. That is the field of practice that we are in. We are not psychologists, even though we have, because of the academics, we have done some level of psychology, but we are not psychologists. We're not doctors, but we are adequately qualified to be doing what we do with you today. Zandile is a certified SADC, and I myself am a certified life coach. So that is what makes it possible for us to engage with you in this manner. What we are going to do with Apex Academic Center is outstanding stuff. We are here for you. We are here to work with you to enhance your learning experience. And we are going to cover a little bit of that later on today. I hope we'll have time to do so, okay? With a jam-packed agenda for today, one of the things that we are definitely going to spend some time on, as I said, is understanding mental health. And that's why we said we want to unbox it. Then we are also going to look at the 5 intelligences and you. There are many intelligences, but we're only going to spend time on 5. And then we are also going to look at how we can help you to unlock barriers to learning. Without much waste of time, I'm going to allow Zandi to take us through the unboxing mental wellness. Sorry about that.
Thank you very much, Sedi, for that well-defined and detailed information of what we do. I really appreciate that. So basically, with the first session that we're going to be doing, it's important for us to be able to note what mental health is. So today we're going to look inside the box of mental wellness and understand how it is, or what it is and what it is not. It's important for us to note those things, because then we can be able to define if we are mentally well or not. So it's important for us to know that. So on the chats, firstly, I'd like to ask you to just write on the chats so that we can see what you are thinking about. What do you think mental health or mental wellness is? Just maybe to take few points there on what do you think mental health is. I'm just going to give you a few minutes so that you can just write on the chats, what do you think mental wellness is? I hope I'll be able to see. the feedback. Just one word of what you understand of mental health. What is it? Beautiful. I'm getting some feedback here. To be stable in mind. Craziness. I like a state of mind. Yeah, a state of mind. I understand that, but I want to know, what is it? What is it to have a healthy or a mental state of mind? How do you describe that? Mental stability. I like that. Beautiful. Anything else? It's interesting that people think it's craziness as well. Mental wellness is a state of well-being. Beautiful. Thank you, Nhlamulo. Thank you, Kopode. Trauma. Interesting. Thanks, Andiswa. Anybody else? All right. Maybe with the information that we've got already, with all the descriptions that we have been given, let's look at what mental wellness is. Okay, I'm just going to go to the next slide. Just a second, please. Okay, so if we look at the definition of mental health is a state of mind, which agrees with the person that has defined it before. It's a state of mind, a condition that encompasses a person's thinking ability, feelings, moods, ability to relate to others, and daily functioning. So if you are feeling good, you have good mood, whatever that means for you, ability to relate with other people as well. And it makes your life easy on your daily living or your daily activities that you do. It means you've got a good state of mind. Okay, let's look at mental health problems. If we think about that, mental health problems doesn't relate to a specific people or specific group or age group or something. It can touches anybody. It touches people of all background, of all culture, of all religion, of all income group. It is very interesting to note that majority of the people, they suffer from a mental problem and they don't even know if they do, because they haven't been diagnosed and they deny it. That is why it becomes mainly a stigma for most of the people, that when they do have mental illness, they are stigmatized. Sadly, that's what happens. When presented by mental illness, you realize that it disrupts your thinking ability and behavior. It's important to be able to note that. So if that happens to you, you know you are not thinking properly or your behavior is not kosher, you start thinking, what is happening? And I always mention this when we do sessions, is that the brain is like other organs. They get sick. When you've got kidney problems, you go for dialysis. Same thing. Your heart, if you've got a problem with your lungs, something has to be done to rescue you from that. Same thing with your brain. If your brain's got chemical imbalance, then there is a problem. But what is mental wellness? What is it that it's not? It's not a result of personal weakness. It's not a result of a lack of character or poor upbringing. So we shouldn't let it overwhelm us. And the interesting thing and the beautiful thing is that mental illness can be treated. So if it can be treated, then it's something that we have to look into, that we can be able to have it treated. Okay, with that being said, I'd like us to go back to the chats. I'd like us to discuss, maybe I want to say, let's think about the things that people have mentioned to you that made you feel some kind of way, a way where you're a little bit depressed. I want you to get into your feelings. Okay, I don't want you to really think about it, but I want you to think of how it made you feel when that happened. Okay, I'd like you to go back to the chats again. On the chats, I want you to tell me when you are feeling low, when people tell you things like you are not good enough, you will not amount to anything, you know, those are labels that people give us. And when people give us labels, we tend to believe them. And when we believe those labels, we make them our own. We own the labels that at first we did not believe them, but all of a sudden, because somebody told you that you are stupid, you tend to believe that maybe I am stupid, and you start owning something like that. But how does it make you feel to have labels like that? And I'm sure you can think of different labels that you were given. I will make an example for myself. I know on the screen I look a little bit big, but I'm a very small person in stature. And people will tease me at school, call me names, call me Shoti, Maloti, whatever it is that they will call me. And until I started owning that, it became a label for me that whatever I'm doing doesn't seem to be good enough or to be big enough. And surprisingly, my name means different, because my name means Zandile, meaning many. I can grow things. I started turning that for myself. But I want you to think of those labels that were given to you. How did it make you feel? I know it made me feel small. It made me feel incompetent. It made me feel like I don't belong or there's something wrong with me. So how did it make you feel? On the chats, let's talk about it. Thank you. Let's look at the chats. I don't listen to them. Their words don't hurt me, but they build me, and they definitely don't drag me or bring me down. I am who I am, and I have good talents, and that's what make me who I am. I love that. I love that information. You see, this person, Chamulo, is working with the self. Thank you, Seti, for sharing that as well. Feeling ugly, things like that. Thank you for sharing that. Anything else? Chamulo, I'm very inspired to hear what you have made of yourself, the things that you've taken on for yourself, that you don't make them define you. Being told that you are not good enough make me feel that you are not capable of anything. Even if it's something that you can actually do, you tend to feel that you are not good enough or not capable to do that. Thank you, Kopo. Really appreciate that. Anything else? Anyone else? Self-loathing. Beautiful. Thanks, Vaughn. Appreciate that. Those are the things that people make can really crush you, you know? Anybody else? I can take two more. Come, guys, how did it make you feel? I need the feeling part of it. How did you feel when people tell you all of those things about yourself? Two more. Worthless. Thanks, Andy, so for sharing that. So with that, how did it make, what did you do with that information? How did you behave? What were the behaviors that you had? How did you behave? I know for one, I felt like I don't want to be part of anything, participate in anything. I'll sleep. For me, sleeping was a remedy. I don't need to participate. I can just sleep. How did you feel? How did you behave? How did you behave when there was, you had outbursts? Many of us can relate, eh? Anything else? Thank you for sharing those feelings and sharing those behaviors. We truly appreciate that. Okay, Gopo continues, he says, I stopped participating with anything, even physical activities, which I adore. Thank you for sharing that. And that is sad. Thank you very much for sharing it. Just being confident and being myself. That's what you did, Nhlamulo. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Okay, so when we look inside the box, which is our mind, our mental health, you can relate to all of these. We spoke about trauma, and it could be that the traumatic experience that you had, it's something that haunts you for a very long time. It happens when you are sleeping, you see it. You normally play things like that. You replay them in your mind. And you sometimes feel guilty, or because of the guilt of something that you've done, you feel that you are not good enough and you would not be able to amend relationships that you might have had with other people because of something that you've done, and you keep on beating yourself. You don't even forgive yourself. You don't get to a point where you forgive yourself. And that makes your anxiety and your depression even more. Okay, so when we look at that, the anxiety part of it, it's important for us to note that anxiety, it's okay in a certain level or degree because it makes you want to do something different. But if it starts to paralyze you, then that's where it becomes a problem. Then you need to be able to see, no. Now I'm sleeping for a long time. I don't wake up. I don't want to participate, as some of you have mentioned. Then it becomes an issue. Being moody. You become moody for no apparent reason. You wake up in the morning, you don't even see that there's a sunlight outside. Everything is dark. And there is procrastination. I know for one, I tend to procrastinate sometimes, but it's something that you can work with. What does that mean? You're leaving something you can do today, but you leave it for tomorrow. But you could be able to do it today. Why do that? It's things that, because you feel that maybe you are not capable of doing it right, or maybe you will make mistakes, things like that. So the interesting thing is that at Utopia, we've got an assessment that we have, which help you assess your procrastination level. You know, it's very good. It's an assessment that when you come to some of our sessions, we make you check that out, you know, so that you can be able to know, am I a procrastinator? And if I am a procrastinator, what is it that I can do different to change all of that? I spoke about sleeping, and many people will probably agree that it becomes a safe haven. It becomes a place for us to hide when we go to bed, when we sleep, when we don't participate. Okay. So with this information, obviously we're discussing what is inside our box. We are unboxing mental health. At this point in time, I'm not giving you solutions, because I want you to be able to participate in what Apex is offering so that you can be able to get resolution. If you think this is some of the things that we've spoken about already, it's things that touches you as a person, and you feel, I think this is speaking to me. And I know there's people that have been answering on the chat box. If it's speaking to you, then this opportunity that Apex has opened up, you need to grab it. So just in few words, tell me, with what we've discussed already, before I hand over to Sadie, how do you feel about the information that you've gotten now? How do you feel? Just, I want to go to the chat box and see what it says with the information that we've had now. I'm going to the chat box. Hope. Thank you very much. There is hope, definitely. Anybody else? Do you feel that there's something that you can look into? I know there's still more to come. Sadie hasn't spoken yet, hasn't done a presentation. She's going to give you more. But with what we've discussed already, just for you to have an open mind, seeing the things that probably are troubling you, how do you feel with the presentation? How do you feel it can help you? Please say some comments on the chat box. Curious, very nice. Curiosity doesn't kill the cat here. It doesn't. It helps you get proper information. It has been it has informed me on how to approach certain things and situations that I find myself in. Thank you, Kopon. Thank you very much for that. Oh, Lungile, you just got in a little bit late with the presentation and the things that we've discussed. I'm not sure how much you've got to listen. The question was, how does it make you feel? Does it make you feel that maybe you will be able to learn something with what has been presented, or what Apex wants to give you professionalism? Nshamulo? Thank you. Anybody else? All right. With that being said, I hope this presentation has opened up your mind to realize what mental health or mental wellness is and what it is not. Because it's easy for us to quickly beat ourselves when we are experiencing some situations and we think, oh, I did something wrong. Even if you didn't do anything wrong, your mental state, if it's not okay, if it's not assisted, and it might make you think that there's something wrong with you. But thank you very much for participating. We really appreciate this. Thanks, Eddie.
Wow. Thank you so much, Sandy. You know, the topics that you were covering really made me think. And the reason why I said I'm now feeling curious is because I want to know what all is in there. And maybe I can perhaps just whet your appetites and tell you about what else we do. Yes, we help you to deal with these things, but we also, by taking a journey through your mind in a very safe space, we help you to deal with those challenges because they become barriers to you. And with those barriers, you are unable to proceed with whatever, and your performance is affected. The performance in school, your peace is hijacked because of these feelings that you have, because of procrastinating, because of something that has shifted your mind and has created something negative in your mind. Then you become stuck. And we want to work with you to help you to be unstuck and thrive. It was very important for us as an organization to come to you and discuss mental wellness, because it is one of the things that really, really plague the world. It's a real challenge, especially with young ones, especially with the conditions that various people find themselves in. And COVID did things worse for all of us because the world has literally changed. The world as we knew it before COVID is different today. And this topic on mental wellness, we invite you please to continue adding your comments to the chat. We are live on Facebook now. If you want to comment on Facebook, go for it. If you want to send an email later on to the academic center, go for it. This is really a platform for us to engage and say to you, hey, we see you. We know that these things exist and we are here to help. And we definitely do not want to attach a stigma to our mental condition or the state of our minds. It comes and goes, and sometimes it stays longer than it should, but the good thing is we can definitely work with it. Thank you so much, Zandile, for that. Now I'm going to share with you my presentation. Oh, somebody please tell me. Oh, yes, it is on presentation mode. I'm going to share the 5 intelligences and you. So as people, we have intelligences. And there are many intelligences. And the beautiful thing about intelligence is some of them can be improved, but some can't. I'm going to tell you all about that in a moment. But I want you to have a look at the intelligences that are showing on your screen. We have intelligence quotient, which is known as IQ, which is also rational quotient. And we have emotional intelligence. We've also got social intelligence. Oh, sorry. And we've got adversity intelligence, and we've got positive intelligence. Again, I invite you please to pop into the chat and tell me what you think about any of these. Tell me what you think any of these are. Firstly, how do you think the various intelligences can play a role in your life? What can they do for you as a student? And what do you think they are? You don't have to answer both questions. You can answer any or both. That's all right. So please go to the chat for me and let me hear from you in a bit. I need to find my chat. Are we engaging there? I need to do this so that I can see the chat box, guys. There you go. Please repeat the question. Okay. The 5 intelligences. We have intelligences. What do you think intelligences are? That's the question, number 1. Number 2, what do you think the intelligences can do for you? And when you look at the various intelligences that we have there, how do you define them? What do you understand of those various intelligences? That was the question. Let me do that. Having the presence of mind and self-awareness when interacting with intellect, socially, emotionally, how to deal with challenge. Yeah, emotional intelligence is a hard one for me. Would love the skills to separate emotions to rational intelligence. Yeah, awesome. I think I have spent quite a bit of time looking at trying to figure out getting to the chat. I apologize, guys. But now let's get into oh no, there was one more chat there. Let me see it. Intellectual power of human. I think you're saying that. Nice, very nice. Thank you so much for engaging. Let's look at the various intelligences then. The intelligences are this one. You know, there's something that's called Murphy's Law. It's one of the topics that are not covered in school, in varsity, but it exists. Murphy's Law is the law that says when you expect nothing to go wrong, then everything goes wrong, just like my presentation is doing today. I'm sorry, guys. All right, so we've got rational intelligence, also known as IQ. That is your ability to think, the ability to rationalize things, and really how you apply your mind. The thing with IQ is that it's inherent. So we inherit our IQ, and if your IQ is a certain number, that's it. That's the maximum that you can be in terms of IQ. And IQ gets measured. There are evaluations that get done to calculate or to assess your IQ level. And you can, if you have maxed it, you can really not advance your IQ if you have reached its ceiling. But if you are still below on your IQ, on your level of intelligence quotient, you can keep on improving it up until you reach a ceiling. I think that the point I'm trying to make here is that with IQ, you do reach a ceiling. It's one of the intelligences that we want to keep on exercising and making sure that we improve our ability to rationalize. IQ is extremely important for us as students, and it's very critical for us to make sure that we improve how we learn, how we take in information, and how we apply that information. That is why IQ is one of the intelligences that we're speaking about today. And then there's emotional intelligence. Now, emotional intelligence is one of the intelligences that talks about the way that we behave. It touches a lot on our mental wellness. And in our minds, that's where all the feelings are stored. I like to make a fist like this to demonstrate this point, to say, when we are feeling mentally well, you can imagine, you can look at this fist and picture this to be your brain, and looking at it like this, as if you are standing like this. This part is the frontal part of your head. So this is where your creativity is. This is where you take in information immediately. And here, this part of your head or inside your brain, this is the panic button. This is where the feelings are at. And there's a lot of connection that happens in the brain with your neural oscillations, and there's a lot of technical stuff that happens there. And what we want to learn is, with emotional intelligence and with our feelings, when something happens and we get triggered, the information comes in here and it gets transferred onto this part, which is the panic button. And then it opens this, the panic button then becomes exposed. When the panic button is exposed, this is where we feel afraid, we want to run, we want to fight, or we freeze when this panic button is exposed. And learning emotional intelligence helps us to keep our panic button closed and covered up. You see, so the trick for us is to learn about what triggers us, because once we are triggered, this man here kicks the rest of the fingers and we lose creativity, we cannot think, we get stuck, and our brain freezes. When that happens, we find it very difficult to function. Emotional intelligence is about being aware of how you're feeling, why you're feeling that way, and how to regulate the way that you're feeling. Then there's social intelligence. Social intelligence talks about your awareness of others. Remember, we are not alone in this world. So we have other people around us, our immediate family, we have our siblings, we have our parents, we have our guardians, we have family, and then we have our classmates, we have our teachers, we have a lot of individuals around us. Now, social intelligence teaches us to be aware of how others are presenting themselves, and for us to be able to interact with them as they present themselves. And then what do we do with that? That's where we interchange with our own self-management, because this one is presenting like this. How am I going to handle that one? That's where we can tap into how we help others and how we also help ourselves as people. Then we've got adversity intelligence. Adversity intelligence is something that I picked up that some of you may already be doing quite well. It's being resilient. It's the ability to deal with very difficult situations, adverse situations in your life, and being able to cope and being able to rise above it and overcome it and carry on with your life. Adversity intelligence is very important in the world that we're living in today, because the challenges come thick and fast. And there are various challenges, including our own schoolwork. It can become a challenge. And if we are not resilient, if we do not tap into the capabilities that we need to be resilient, then that adversity will knock us down, and there we find us ourselves failing and feeling guilty. We'll find ourselves being anxious about school. We find ourselves being anxious about things that are going to happen. We find ourselves just remaining in bed and not wanting to get out. And we find ourselves struggling really to get on with life. And then the last intelligence that we deal with here at Utopia Coaching is positive intelligence. Now, positive intelligence talks about how you view yourself and what you do then with your own view of yourself to impact your own life positively and the lives of others positively. Now, positive intelligence really is the epitome of self-mastery. And once you have it, it is easy for you to deal with other people, to handle situations, and most importantly, to deal with yourself. Because at the end of the day, you have you to answer to. Is it not so? So these intelligences, especially emotional intelligence, social intelligence, adversity intelligence, as well as positive intelligence, are all the intelligences that we work with to enable those that we work with to tap into them, to make them strong, just as you go to the gym to strengthen your muscle. And the more you exercise that muscle, the more it grows or the stronger it becomes. We help you to strengthen these intelligences and be able to apply them, because all of these are very key to how you see the world and how you see yourself as an individual, and to how you interact with others, and most importantly, to your success as a student. Being able to overcome adversities, to deal with adversities, having the intelligence to notice them is very critical as a student. These are some of the things that I wish I had when I went to school, because if I knew that I could do more with myself in order for me to learn better, I promise you, I would have excelled. And that is what we do here at Utopia Coaching. It's one of the things that we will be doing with Apex Academies, Academic Center, and we're really looking forward to engaging with you more on this one. And that is it on the 5 intelligences and you. Please feel free to drop a chat in the chat box there. I'm not going to have time to look at it now, and I really would love to go on to the next topic. Unlocking barriers to learning. We go to school, we listen to the teacher, we go through the textbook, we learn, we make some notes, we do research, we do some exercises, we do tests, we think we are learning, but are we really? Why is it that sometimes we struggle with a topic? Why is it that sometimes we have to spend so much more time even getting additional support, and we start to think negatively of ourselves because we are just not making it with this topic, with a certain subject? I'm here to tell you that we struggle because there is a barrier there. At Utopia Coaching, we work with you to unlock the barriers to learning. Once you have no barriers, then you just have a free-flowing ride. A barrier is something that stands between you, literally standing in front of you as you are going on a certain path. So if you have to imagine yourself walking, it's like having suddenly a blockage, a wall that stops you from walking through and carrying on with your journey. And those barriers can really be a challenge. That is why we work with you to unlock those barriers. But what are the barriers to learning? We work with you on 3 barriers to learning that have a direct impact in your schooling. There are many barriers to learning, including emotional and psychosocial elements, and those we do from a life coaching perspective. But specific to technical stuff, we help you with the absence of mass, too steep a gradient, and the missing word. I'm going to explain them quickly. You may know that mass is something that occupies space and has weight, right? A scientific explanation, maybe, if you like. But what is mass in learning? Mass is an object, a literal object that you are learning about. If you do not understand the object that you are learning about, you cannot understand the subject. So if we're learning about an aeroplane, and you hear people telling you about in a plane, to drive an airplane, there is a cockpit. Oh. And in the cockpit, there is a dashboard. And you don't know what that is. And then you get asked a question on the dashboard, or have to explain what happens in the cockpit, and you've never seen one. Blank. So we help you to identify if mass is a barrier to learning, and we help you not to get a cockpit, but we have ways that we can help you to grasp the concept. When you hit a blank because you don't get what the thing is about, we have ways that we can enable you with the various tools and techniques that we employ for you to fill that mass. And then there's also the barrier, which is called too steep a gradient. What is that? A gradient is a measure of how rapidly a function changes in a particular direction. That's a dictionary explanation to what a gradient is. But what does that have to do with learning? And how is it a barrier to learning? Think of it this way. When you're moving, you're progressing. When you start, let's start at the beginning. When you start to learn, you start with basic elementary things, and you start to advance to complex things. Learning does not start with complexity and then it grows from there. There has to be foundations, and that is why in schooling there are foundational stages and such levels. So as you're going through the various learning stages, even in a subject, and you find yourself in a topic that you do not understand, and it feels like you jumped from a step this high, and now you need to climb a step, the next step is this high. You can't do it. The gradient is just too wide. You can't do it, you see? And this makes it very difficult for you to understand the topic. At Utopia Coaching, we help you to fill in the gaps by helping you to break down the gradient and catching up, so to speak, on what it is that you may have missed, to make sure that you are able to climb the steps properly in the levels that you are able to, according to your own pace. Now, too steep a gradient doesn't necessarily mean that you moved from grade 2 to grade 4 per se. It may simply mean the way that you think about things and the way that you rationalize things, even though it is in the same grade 2, I'll use that as an example, and you're struggling, and you're in grade 2, and then you start looking at a new topic, and it's still in the same grade, but you do not understand it. That also happens. It doesn't only happen when you're moving from complexity in terms of levels per se, but in complexity because of the different subjects or the different areas of the topics that you start to engage in. And then the third barrier to learning that we cover is called the missing word. It's a word that is misunderstood. When you encounter a missing word, the moment, if you find yourself reading a book, and the moment you come across a word that you do not understand, and maybe you just move past it and you carry on reading, science has proven that you will not get the rest of the story. You will not understand it because of one word that has caused a blank for the rest of the page or for the rest of the paragraph. And that is why many times you will find yourself having read something and then asking yourself, maybe let me read that again. I guarantee you, if you find a word that you misunderstood or that you didn't know, that was new to you, and you define it or you spend some time in understanding that word, then you'll be able to understand the rest of the passage. You'll be able to understand the rest of the story. So those are the little things that we find ourselves struggling with as learners. And the missing word applies a lot when we get to learning new concepts. And we work with you to help you to solve for yourself as you go on. And the learning is a once-off learning how to unlock the barrier of the absence of mass, how to unlock the barrier of two-steeper gradient, as well as how to unlock the barrier of the missing word. It's a once-off learning. After that, you are set for life. Again, I invite you to please talk to us at Utopia Coaching. Find us on our website. But we have now partnered with Apex Academic Center, and we're really looking forward to spending some more time with you. That is it for my presentation, for our presentation today, myself and Zandile. And we hand back to the MC. We apologize for running a little bit over. I think we started a few minutes later as we were waiting for our attendees. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sadie and Zandile, for this wonderful information about the well-being. Thank you for everybody else that joined us. If you've got any other questions or want any one-to-one sessions with the experts of this webinar, please feel free to contact us on our website or on the email, on the information that we've sent on the email before this webinar. And then, just thank you very much. And that's the end of our session. Enjoy your day further. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one. Bye-bye.